Hi there, welcome to Dead End Street. I'm Al. This episode, we are going to continue with our Albums of the Year series. We are now moving on to 1980, where we will do the 25 best records of a really, really great year in music. So let's get started. So at number 25, we're going to start out with Get Happy by Elvis Costello and the Attractions. Now, this is Elvis's very jittery soul record. There's about 67 songs on it, and it runs 20 minutes long, but it's a really fun 20 minutes. At number 24, we have Crazy Rhythms by the Feelies, jangle pop pioneers from the early 80s. This was college rock way before 120 minutes was around to categorize it. Good songs, some really good guitar interplay between the guitarists. Number 23 is going to be Permanent Waves by Rush. Yep, I like Rush. I'll go one further and I'll say I prefer 80s Rush over 70s Rush. Is that uncool? Maybe. But if different strings and entre nous don't move you, I'm afraid that you don't have a pulse. So number 22 is Sound Effects by The Jam. So the Mod Father and Company put together a killer collection of energetic pop songs that will be stuck in your head for weeks. So beware. Number 21 is Affectionate Punch by The Associates. The Associates were not well known here in the States, but they should have been. Vocalist Billy McKenzie was an exceptional talent, and Alan Rankin was just as great a musician as Billy was a singer. Number 20 is going to be Black Sea by XTC. So Black Sea to me seems like it's kind of like the midpoint between the angular stuff they were doing on drums and wires and the more lush stuff that they would end up doing on English Settlement. And it's a really, which makes it a really unique record in their discography and a really great listen. Number 19 is Flesh and Blood by Roxy Music. This is probably the least consistent Roxy record, but it's still better than your band's record. But just Same Old Scene alone was so ahead of its time. That's one first single, I think, off the record, maybe a second. But it's probably copied by 93 times by Duran Duran alone. So number 18 is going to be Remain in Light by Talking Heads. This record is insane in some spots and inescapably catchy in others. And guest guitarist Adrian Belew is just absolutely awesome on this record. Number 17 is going to be Heaven and Hell by Black Sabbath. This may be my favorite heavy metal record of all time. The music is majestic, and Ronnie James Dio's lyrics are nothing short of beautiful. And I mean that. We're talking about Black Sabbath and Ronnie James Dio. Yes. Just read the lyrics to the title track alone. Not to mention he's one of the greatest voices in rock history, not just metal. Just an amazing, amazing voice. So number 16 is the self-titled album by Birthday Party. This band were a bunch of lunatics, and I love them for it. You'll never get Birthday Party in the first listen. I don't know anyone who has. But if you continue to listen to it, it's going to grab you, I think. Nick Cave and Roland S. Howard are basically the Jagger and Richards of hell. I don't know if that makes any sense, but band were absolute geniuses. Great record. Number 15 is going to be the Pretenders 2, second Pretenders record. It's heartbreaking to listen to this record knowing this is the final, um, second and final record by the original Pretenders lineup. And oh, what could have been? James Honeyman Scott's guitar tone on Talk of the Town is effing pristine. It's one of the most, it's an excellent sound. I know it's just clean with like the chorus pedal, but it just sounds so good. Number 14 is the self-titled album by Psychedelic Furs. Now, before they were pop sensations, yet still awesome, the Furs were part punk, part Velvets, and part weird dark band with a sax player. This record excited many people upon its release, and with good reason. There's many classics on here, including Sister Europe and the very overlooked Wedding Song. Great song. Number 13 is the third Peter Gabriel album, also known as Melt. So you have Peter Gabriel bringing in Robert Fripp, Kate Bush, Paul Weller, a bunch of other people on there, and makes a really great artistic statement here. It finally separates him as being the former singer of Genesis. The opening track on the album is Intruder, and it features a menacing drum track by Phil Collins. Yeah, that Phil Collins. It's a monster drum performance. I think he plays drums on a couple of other tracks on here too. So, yeah, great album too. Our number 12 record is going to be Kings of the Wild Frontier by Adam and the Ants. So what do you get when you have 14 drummers, a charismatic frontman, white war paint, and pirate gear? You get awesomeness, of course. So look, I defy you to listen to this record and not tap your foot and enjoy the shit out of it. I saw them perform this album a couple of years ago, and it's just a great show. And it's a great album to hear live. It actually better live than it is on the record, if you can imagine that. So number 11 is going to be The Correct Use of Soap by Magazine. This is the final trio of Magazine records with the late, great John McGeoch on guitar. I've championed this band for years now. I will keep doing it. Song from Under the Floorboards is a good example of who they were, but don't stop there. Check out the other albums before it. Just a great, great band that really should be more well known than they are. Number 10 is going to be the debut album by the Echo and the Bunnymen, Crocodiles. It has just enough punk edge and just enough melancholy and shadows to give us a glimpse of who they were and where they were headed. Villiers Terrace is just one of my absolute favorite Bunnymen tracks, and it's just brimming with attitude, but zero hope whatsoever. Just classic Bunnymen. The number 9 spot's going to go to Japan and their Gentlemen Take Polaroids record. David Sylvian and Mick Karn and company take the next artistic step forward, mixing new romantic pop with Berlin-era Bowie soundscapes for yet another excellent record. A lot of new wave 80s acts owe quite a bit of their career to Japan. Duran. Why do I keep ripping on Duran? Listen to Japan. They're awesome. The number 8 record is going to be the debut from Killing Joke, self-titled. So, what is a Killing Joke? How do you describe their music? All these years later, I've been listening to them for 30 plus years. I still don't know how to describe their music to people who have never heard them. They cannot be defined, other than to say that there will never be another, and every aspect of their sound was essential. Geordie Walker, legendary guitarist. I went on a week-long Killing Joke tear after his passing. His playing just baffles me. It scares me. It delights me. Um, all hail the mighty joke. Number 7 is going to be Waiting for a Miracle by Comsat Angels. Um, this is a band from Sheffield in the early 80s and post-punk era. They were criminally overlooked, but still held in high esteem by many other artists as a big influence. Their debut record contains some fantastic guitar tones, some awesome vocal melodies, and tracks like Real Story and Postcard that are just infectious. As good as this record is, it's not even their best record. That'll be coming up next year. Number 6 record from 1980 is going to be Jeopardy by The Sound. Another ridiculously overlooked band who is just now kind of starting to get some recognition. Had some documentaries and stuff made about them. Um, the band had all the qualities it needed to hit big, but Adrian Borland, the guitarist and vocalist, just had too many demons to deal with, and that just kept holding him down. But Jeopardy's an amazing record. It's angular, it's dark, it's memorable, and the only thing more tragic that this album didn't take off is the fact that the next one didn't take off. Same thing with Comsat Angels. Um, these guys just made some absolutely awesome records. So the number 5 record in 1980 is going to be In the Flat Field by Bauhaus. Double Dare, In the Flat Field, God in the Alcove, Spy in the Cab, all in the same record. It's a legendary debut record. It's a very theatrical group of songs that I can see how it could be grating to some people and just beautiful to others. But either way, it's going to elicit a response. It demands it. Murphy, Ash, the brothers Haskins are all in full display on this absolute classic of a record. Number 4 record is going to be 17 Seconds by The Cure. I've always equated 17 Seconds to being the soundtrack to a chilly autumn night by fire. It's also, I think, the album where The Cure found their sea legs, where Robert Smith became Robert Smith of The Cure. He was fresh off of doing double duty on the last tour where he was touring with the Banshees while also playing with The Cure from back-to-back sets. And it's been said that that's where Robert found the new love for moodier and darker soundscapes after playing in his experience with the Banshees. This is the first of a trio of records that got progressively darker until they couldn't go any further. But this one's only the first step. Speaking of the Banshees, number 3 is going to be Kaleidoscope by Susie and the Banshees. So out goes McKay and Morris of the original lineup, and in comes Budgie and the search for a permanent new guitarist. Steve Jones, I think, of the Pistols, plays 3 songs on this, I think. But after that, they eventually managed to steal John McGeoch away from Magazine, at which point my favorite lineup of any band is born. And the album is more psychedelic and colorful in places, but like not in a hippie kind of way. But they do add some electronic elements and step up their songwriting on here and get ready to go for the jugular on the next one. So getting near the top of the hill here, number 2 is going to be Scary Monsters and Super Creeps by David Bowie. So on Scary Monsters, we find Mr. Bowie leaving Berlin behind, and he does re-enlist Tony Visconti and Robert Fripp. And what we get here is the perfect midpoint between the Berlin trilogy and Let's Dance. So, artistic yet accessible, but with zero compromise. Highlights on here include Scream Like a Baby, Because You're Young, and of course, Fashion and Ashes to Ashes. So that leaves us with our number 1 record of 1980, which is going to be Closer by Joy Division. Um, so this is the second Joy Division record and the final Joy Division record. I think to me closer is the sound of a young man without hope, the sound of a young man giving up. I mean, that's a fact. I mean, it's heartbreakingly evident and terrifying in the lyrics. So, why then is this such a beautiful piece of art? Why does it comfort people? And it comforts me when I listen to it. I don't know why or how, but it does. Um, I'm not sad or without hope, but I think there's something about this record that is immaculate, something pure, like a fresh snow. Um, but I mean, Ian Curtis knew this was his last record. And like I said, it's evident by listening to him on here, by listening to the words. Music is truly haunting. It's gripping. Passover, The Eternal, 24 Hours, and the incredible, chilling closer of the album, Decades, is, in my opinion, just one of the most beautiful sounds ever put to tape. Um, I mean, I like New Order a lot, but this is something that can't be bested, and they know that. And there's only one other, maybe two other records that make me feel this way, or anything close to it. Um, and we'll get to those at some point down the line. But the truth is we're at the end of 1980, and someone else will have a number one album next year in 1981 because there aren't any more Joy Division records. So at least those any more studio records. So, well, thanks for joining us here on Dead End Street, and hope to see you next for 1981. In the meantime, like, subscribe, click the bell for notifications, and don't forget to visit our social media pages, and we'll see you soon. Thanks. Bye.